Hello shiny friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Ashley Murphy. I'm an artist and author among being a wife and a mother, using my gifts in my everyday life to communicate with the world how valuable you are. It's my greatest desire to remind you, you were made to shine. Shine your light of influence out into the world. For once, I remember to introduce myself. That is my biggest downfall, is always remembering to introduce myself. Because, a lot of y'all know who I am because you've been here before. But then there's those new ones, the new people, the ones that just arrived today. And this is your first time watching my channel and you want to know who I am. So this is my warmest welcome to all of you. Join me today as I prepare my workspace in my art studio to put ink on dictionary book pages. I'm one of those weird girls who actually has to have a clean space in order to create. So I'm going to wipe this up and I'm going to use this large roll of trace paper that I picked up at a craft center. I'm going to roll it out and trim it up to fit the space here. I'm supposed to be cooking dinner right now. This is a metal urn that I keep on the tabletop in my art studio. I actually received this urn years ago when we moved, and a friend of mine gave it to us as a housewarming gift. But through the years, it made it onto my tabletop in my art studio, and I house my small scrap pieces of paper. You can see all sorts of things here. And that's where I keep those. So I just pushed that out of the way, and you saw that I picked out some smaller pieces of dictionary pages that I've already trimmed. And now this is a separate bucket that I have that has got like bigger pieces of things. Today's project was inspired by time spent in the art studio one day when I picked up a piece of scrap dictionary book page and put some pink ink on it, just like this. So I wanted to share with you how I did this process. First, I start by spraying water on it with my water bottle, and I kind of spread it around with my fingertips a little bit. And this is just so I could get the paper a little damp and the ink would spread a little more. I actually have not used these inks in a really long time, and so I was getting my feel back for these. I spent all this time lining these pages up and working with this, and I'll be honest with you, I thought that this was going to be, a really great tutorial for you, and not saying that it's not, but I learned really fast a few things. First of all, the ink did not spread near as quick and as fun as it was that day that I made the smaller version with the pink ink. And so I had to work a little to get this ink to spread on this larger page. So I decided that after lining all those pages up just right, it just wasn't working out. I needed a little extra room to have some workspace because this was not going how I planned, and I was afraid that I was going to end up with that ink on all of those other pages, and I really only wanted one color ink per page. So I picked up one of my handy dandy little sponges, my makeup sponges that I like to work with, and began smearing it all across, and you can see how some areas stay darker than others, and that's I really do like it. It just didn't turn out as good as the first one that I ever tried, that pink one that I showed you earlier in the video. So this page really does, in the end, whenever I'm done and it dries and everything, it turns out really nice, and I know one day whenever I go to use it in a piece of artwork or in my journal or something, it will be a great resource to have to add additional color. And that was my whole point of doing these pages, is to have like different sizes and different color, but yet still be able to use the dictionary pages. I've always enjoyed using the dictionary pages for different things, but I usually just leave them plain, so I thought what better way to put use and add color to them. The yellow goes on a little bit better, but of course this is a smaller piece, and so I don't know if maybe working with smaller pieces it kind of turns out a little bit better. But again, I would start by spraying the pieces with water using my water bottle, and then I would dab a little bit of the ink on there, and then if it didn't get into certain spots I would kind of smear it around with my fingertips, and this being that way whenever it dries some areas will be darker than others. And not necessarily did I want to cover every single portion of the book page, but you know, on some of them you'll see where there is still some area that's not covered by color. Of course, this was annoying me that my nice clean space was getting color on it, but you know, that's just part of the work process. So I'm going to continue using the different pages that I picked out. Get this water put on here. It was kind of important to smear it on around with my fingertips. And then this one is more of a goldish color. The dropper ends up not working on this one. It kind of ended up, I just had to kind of drizzle it on there. The dropper on it was not working. I'm not sure why, because actually this is one of the newer ones that I've recently purchased. We purchased it for one of my daughter's projects that she was having to make some slime for a Maker Faire project a couple years ago at school. She made slime and it was going to be gold, and this is the gold that we used. So I just said forget it on the dropper and poured some on there and let it run. You can see how it kind of mixes with the water and it's just going everywhere. This one was really fun, and you see how on this one it's where it's going to be not every piece of the paper is covered with the ink. So I kind of like that. This will be so fun once it's dry and you cut it up and you can use it in projects. Most of my inks I've had for a while, but like I just mentioned a while ago, the gold one was one of my newer ones. Years ago I used to use them a lot in some of my journals. Listen to this upcoming conversation that I'm going to have with my daughter when she walks in the room. Yeah.
I go with Corey to Target, and then we can go eat at that China buffet right next door, or maybe a few places down. But
Who y'all going with?
her parents.
I guess so. Just make sure it's okay with Dad, but yeah, I mean.
What are you doing? Spilling ink up here, so you just made art. Sometimes I think you just have fun and become a child and just make random blotches.
Oh, really? Okay, if you couldn't quite understand what she was saying, she was asking me permission to go eat dinner with one of her friends and her family. But she also was questioning my process of what I was doing, and was I just spilling ink to make art, and that she just thinks that sometimes I like to have fun like a child. I have to agree with her. The older that I've gotten, I realize that it doesn't matter our age. We do tend to enjoy doing the things that we like to do when we were kids. This black ink went on a lot thicker than the other ones. I mean, naturally, because it's black, it's a more prominent color. And so I just continued making a mess and it ran off the page. And so I'm going to use some of the smaller ones here in a second and dip it in there to get that extra ink up, because I just felt like it was such a waste. And so I let it kind of run and smear. I try to soak up as much as I can before I take the final just forget it, and I'll get my paper towel and clean this mess up and move on to the next color. This orange will be the last color that I use today in this project. I had hoped to have a turquoise, but I didn't have any turquoise on hand. So I just continued using the colors that I did have. And the orange actually, once they were dry, became one of my favorite ones actually. And it probably has to do with this time of year, being fall, moving into the fall. So I get that area kind of cleaned up and stuff, and I go to start looking back over. See, that's one of the first pieces that I did, and that's the gold. And everything's starting to dry a little bit. I hope you enjoyed this process. I want to leave you with a conversation I had with my husband when he came in the middle of filming. Listen closely.
One time Carly was going to use some of these. And so I told her to come upstairs, and I told her exactly where they were. At the time, they were hanging on a shelf over there. So she come up here, and I told her, I said, be real careful coming down them steps and don't drop it. I said, because if you drop it, it goes everywhere. Ow, that hurts. I was still out in the garage. That kid comes out there, she said, I fell coming down the steps. You right there, kid. We had to clean that crap up. I had to find some paint in the wall and everything. But we've had the wall painted since then, so it's pretty funny. You didn't think that was funny?
Mm-mm.